My name is Brian. Welcome to the Media Bar webinar. I am beautifully sunlit today, so looking and feeling good. Anyway, this is the deal. This is where we're going to have all of our webinars moving forward. So register for this. I'm going to get the chat going. I know I can't see you or hear you today, but I'm working on that. Bear with me. I'm one-man show over here. What we are going to do going forward, in knowing that we have Black Friday coming up, knowing that we have all that going on, I'm going to really start digging into some specific research and data, because I think this is probably the last week that things are going to be quote unquote normal. I've been doing a lot of research on last year and the year prior, and what I'm realizing is that what's happening is hold on, I'm getting huddled. What's happening is, no, Mariah, is that it seems like right around the third or fourth week of October, that is when things take off. That is when everybody's turning on their Black Friday spend. And when I say everybody, I mean the whales, right? The people who can actually dump tens of millions onto social and like legitimately affect your performance by the sheer volume of their own spend. So right around this time of year is when that normally happens. So what I'm looking for is probably over the next couple of weeks, we're going to see metrics change. They're going to get a lot more challenging. Your spend is going to get harder to track. Everything's going to get a little bit harder to do. So I'm expecting to see both performance increases in terms of like your clicks and your CTRs and all of that stuff, but I'm expecting to see prices like go absolutely out of control. I don't think we're going to have an easy Black Friday, Cyber Monday. And I know everyone's saying that and it's easy to gloom and doom. But if you've been on here, you know that my common refrain is efficiency. So if by some terrible circumstance or by some lack of access to information or time or whatever it may be, you're still kind of like firing from the hip this year, I would really advise you to not do that. I think that where we were at economically in terms of the way people are purchasing, the way they're thinking, the way what they're doing, customers, I mean, people, it's going to be a rough year for everybody. I think we've drastically underestimated the impact of student loan payments restarting. It's funny because I think a lot of the rhetoric that you see on the news right now is that things are going great. The economy's going great. We've killed inflation, I think is the joke they've said, right? Consumers are not agreeing with this. I know that wages are increasing, jobs are increasing, the economy's improving, blah, 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 blah. We are not in a recession. That doesn't matter if consumers have bad attitudes. I'm working on a pretty big report that's going to talk a lot about this, and I'm hoping to get out for you in the next week or so. That I think that people's purchasing behaviors are going to be a little bit less this year. We're looking at on average $300 to $600 that are just kind of disappearing out of people's pockets and going to student loan repayments. We're looking at more expensive travel than ever, more expensive products than ever, more expensive groceries, and consumer confidence is just not there. So that's kind of the shadow that I see hanging over all of us this year. So I'm always going to recommend that you under promise and over deliver. And I think the way that you can do that is by not focusing on volume this Black Friday, but I'm focusing on the numbers, focusing on performance. So speaking of performance, let's go ahead and get into it. So look at this look at all the fancy branding. That's right. The features now. Y'all are getting this for free. Anyway, let's look at some auction metrics. So this is what I would call kind of the last week of normal variability. I know we've been getting our asses kicked on Meta for a while now. I am hearing a great deal about bugs that are happening, major creative issues. That does not make me excited for what's going to happen on Meta, but I really don't feel like we have a choice. We kind of have to spend there because it's the highest converting platform of all of these. It's the only one that outside of Google really has a strong like awareness to conversion path for us. Bugs aside, I can't stress enough that you should probably do a couple of things. One, you're going to have to leave your meta spend on because that's just where we're getting things done. Two, you're probably going to have to check your meta ad accounts every single day. I am hearing of people going in and seeing Their bid strategies changing. I am hearing people going in and seeing ads turned off, deleted, creatives getting mismatched. You upload ads to one creative, you set it live, and all of a sudden it appears in another placement. Like, I'm hearing about a lot of bugs, but I really feel kind of shackled to this right now, because it's still the highest converting thing we have. And we're October 23rd. We're not even close to Black Friday, dude. And like, these bugs are going crazy. So I have major problems with that. Um, I have two recommendations. One, you're hearing about this first. We just launched a mobile app. Go and find it in the store. Download it. It will show you the overview page. This is exclusive. You're getting this here first. We haven't even announced this, but it is live. There's a mobile app available on the App Store. Go download it. You can put your overview page on your homepage. Make an overview page where you can see all of your ads and you can keep track of what's going on. Check that thing all the time. Check it as much as your data refreshes, because then you'll know if you're already having issues with your ads on Meta. Check that mobile app. Check your overview page. It's just your overview page on your phone. You check it anywhere you're at. Make sure that your stuff doesn't break and you don't waste any money. That's my major concern there. Number two, if you can afford hourly processing, if you don't know what this is, we offer hourly processing. So you can go and you can upgrade your ad accounts to have all of your conversion data updated hourly instead of like the couple of times a day that we normally do. If you can afford that, speak to your sales rep, speak to your AE, or message me and I'll get you connected with them. If you can afford it, you should seriously consider it over the week of Black Friday. There's like 4 to 6 days that really matter there. Because you could save thousands and thousands of dollars if you're really spending that much. You could save thousands and thousands of dollars on literally just knowing that an ad has quit converting a couple of hours early, right? That's something that I would recommend. So those things: get the overview app or get the mobile app, which I'll share a link, and then get hourly processing if you can, and hit me up. And I know that's a plug, but that's literally what we made it for. It's for this Black Friday, Cyber Monday seasonality, high seasonality moments. And it's not that expensive to get like a week or two of it and not a full month, right? So it's a great time to try, and you might discover that you like the hourly and you want to turn it on for other seasonality you might have, like Father's Day or Mother's Day or Valentine's Day or Earth Day or whatever the hell you're advertising on, right? Anyway, back to the task at hand. Like I said, I think this is normal variability. I'd be surprised if this stays this way. But I'm happy to have just like CPMs not getting crazy expensive on some of these platforms for like another week in a row, even though it feels like the tide's receding before a tsunami. So looking at conversion metrics, of course, Google's improving. I expect to see Google continue to improve all the way to the end of the year. If there's any strategy I can give you, this is also early access strategy because I'm going to recommend this in my upcoming report. You should probably have a pretty good Google plan going to the end of the year, because that's the one thing that's not going to drop off after Black Friday is like Google. So if you spent the whole year building your awareness, now's the time to capture it. So make sure you're getting that share. Make sure you're getting that absolute top of page rate. Whatever you feel is relevant for you to capture both your brand terms and generics. It's not a bad time to get generics. People know what they want to buy. They know what they're looking for. They know what they're looking for on Black Friday, and they know what they'll have to buy all the way up to the what do we call it? The shipping deadline, the last day you can get it before Christmas Eve kind of thing. They know what they're looking for up to those dates. So make sure that you have a competitive Google strategy going to the end of the year. I see a lot of people kind of drop off their Google after Black Friday. The data I am seeing based on last year's performance and what we're already seeing this year is that dropping off your Google spend after Black Friday is probably not a good idea. I think a lot of us put all of our money on Black Friday, Cyber Monday, but if you have something that's very giftable, a weighted rug, dad stuff, shaving kits, whiskey tumblers, whatever the hell, keeping up your both branded, I know, but don't argue with me on this, branded and generic search terms, keeping that strong, keeping that focused all the way to the end of the year, not just through the last week of November, is going to be critical. So let's try and do that, folks. And if you think I'm full of shit, I would like to hear it. So tell me what we should be doing. Tweet at me right now, and I'll get this chat live in next week's webinar for you all. What is continually troubling here in conversion metrics, but really not surprising, is the YouTube drop off. I think it's been several weeks now that conversion on YouTube has continued to fall. Um, I think that this is probably due to an increased push and people trying to cram awareness before Black Friday. I have never loved the changes that YouTube made a while back, a long time ago now, probably a year or more. So the way that they ship their ads, um, I know it's more effective. I know it gets us more effective. I know it gets us more volume. I know it gets us more placements, but realistically, it has a negative effect on conversion. And I think unless you sell something that's very YouTube native, which I don't even know what that would be per se, but if you sell something that's YouTube native, you might get conversions there. But really, I see YouTube Shorts as an awareness play, like frankly, straight up. Um, and the constant red arrows we've had in conversion here are kind of evidence for that, right? Last thing we're looking at today is the tide receding. I said this in the newsletter, but I really feel like American consumers have this thing in their minds when like it starts getting cold. They're like, I'm not going to buy anything because I know that discounts are coming. And once again, like we can kind of see that this week, right? If you look, you can see the trends. People are pulling back on baby purchases, health and wellness purchases, electronics purchases, because these are the things that get dumped on Black Friday. So people know that the discounts are coming. They're not trying to spend. They're waiting for you. They're waiting for you to land in their inboxes with a nice and spicy 27.5% discount code, right? Um, I have a love-hate relationship with discounts. I think it's a poisoned chalice, as we talked about several weeks ago. But if you are doing it, if you do have to do it, if you do expect to do it, they can be pretty useful LTV levers. So I'm not surprised to see health and wellness drop off pretty aggressively here. I think, and this is my experience from running a health and wellness company, that this is a good time for you to run discounts for your best customers only. I don't like acquiring new customers at a discount because they are permanently trained to not want to pay full price, and they are permanently trained to never spend more money. I am that customer for multiple health and wellness brands, the people I buy my creatine from. I don't think I've ever not used a discount code. And that just like eats margin, right? So it's not worth it. Anyway, I'm expecting these numbers to increase once our campaigns kind of get rolling. We'll see. I think not every industry is starting their push at the same time. Of course, certain brands will start earlier in their discounting compared to others. I am not going to sit here beyond telling you that you shouldn't all the time. I'm not going to sit here and tell you what you could or could not do with your discounting to have a good impact. Everybody has a different problem. Everybody has a different strategy. Everybody has a different narrative of what's happening in their business. So if you're someone who is coming to this webinar and you're asking me to tell you what to do, I can't recommend what to do exactly, right? I can just tell you that the best thing to do is to think strategically about what impacts your business and the like long-term effects of that. So for example, if you wanted to kind of get a little re-up on your existing customers and shoot them a little discount code so that they can just kind of stock up on Black Friday, that could work, right? If you do the math and the margins work out, like great, you send them an email, you keep it really private, you make sure that that discount code doesn't get leaked, you're good to go. And you can just increase LTV on some of your best customers there, right? If your goal is short-sightedly, I need to get as many customers as possible on Black Friday, then maybe it is worth it to you to run a pretty huge discount. But just know that that's not something you'd come back from. So I know that it's the easiest out for all of us. And I know that certain people in leadership will be like, well, why aren't we running a code? That's what everyone does. We run a code. Communication is key. It's something we're going to talk a lot about in this webinar going forward. Communication with your leadership about what marketing is and what marketing does is critical. So that's kind of the side effect of Northbeam that we don't talk about is it gives you a really powerful source of data for you to argue about what should or should not be happening when people are trying to tell you how to do your job, whether it's your board, whether it's your marketing team, whether it's your leadership. This goes all different ways. I think we seriously lack a bit of a literacy about the new world of marketing, this new era that I've been talking about that I have yet to name, that I keep seeing Northbeam people succeed at. And the best thing that we could do is communicate strongly about our strategy and about what we're trying to do here and show it and back it up with data. And I think this is a great example of like, why are sales going down? I'm like, well, obviously you can see by looking at all these different industries that the tide is receding in preparation for a huge wave of sales that everyone inherently, every American has baked into their DNA, right? After Thanksgiving, I go and I blow all my money at the retail store, whether I'm doing it in person, pushing down people at Walmart and fighting over PS5s, or whether I'm, jumping online and like pulling out my card and making sure that this 40% discount doesn't get away from me, right? So